This meeting
Nisha,
is being recorded.
go Nisha. Let me put it right here. Um, How's everybody doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, good.
Cool, cool.
How's it going, man?
Can't complain, man. How's everything with you guys?
Good man, how you doing?
Another great day.
Well, I went out last night and had a couple of shots, and I'm just kidding. No, I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Still at Invest Fest, but um, yeah, it's been very insightful. Some of the stuff that I've learned, I kind of want to share with you guys today. And I think there's so much
Left hand.
there's so much information when it
No,
comes.
I have to wait till you leave.
Oof, how to meet you, Emily. So there's so much information, and what I did was I really extracted, you know, the main thing that's going to move the pillar. And that goes across, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you um, just started the program, if you're towards the end, there's people that's on the call that's not even in the program. But this is something that's going to help you really access anything that you want, right? I'm going to give you guys the information and tools, not only to make $500,000 a year, but honestly, anything that you want in life. And so today we're going to be talking about mindset. It's such a cliche. I've had one call, I think one or two coaching calls around this around this topic, but it's going to be a little bit different. Some of the stuff is the same, but I added some stuff that I learned from this from InvestFest that if someone, even one person, if someone applies the knowledge of what is going to be discussed today, I can promise you your life will change forever. Go ahead and type a 1% in the chat if you guys are with me. Go ahead and type a 1% in the chat. Emily, I see you. Okay, Max. Okay, okay, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Misha, you there? I see you typing 1%.
Hi, Tayo.
I was like, you shy? What's going on?
I was talking with my mom when you had just came here. I asked her, I said, did he call my name? But no, I'm in the meeting because I'm taking this thing here serious.
Okay, okay. Tell Mama Dukes I said what's up.
Okay.
Hi, Mama.
Hey baby.
So, those who don't know, Namisha is actually my first student. She's the first person that ever invested in anything that I had to offer. So it's
More
been
time.
singing some auto tunes. Hold up now. Put me on. But yeah, just FYI, Namisha, she's amazing. But I'm glad you joined. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started in about 2 minutes. I want to wait at 6:30. But once again, those who just joined, today we're gonna be talking about mindset, and it's such a cliche, but not mindset is like 95% of everything. I'm gonna give you the tools, I'm gonna give you the information and tangible things that you can do to change your life forever. Right. So let me actually pull this up to make sure everything is smooth. Okay, cool. So essentially, I'm going to show you how to make $500,000 a year, which is $25,000 a month. And with this information and tool that I'm going to give you, we're not, it's not just about $500,000. It's really, if you wanted to make $1 million, I know somebody making 1.2, 1.3 mil. Charles, I always talk about him for my students knows him because I talk about him a lot. Um, but you can make as much money as you want with this information and tool that you're going to get access today. Okay. How many people on this call, how would your life dramatically change every single every two every 2 weeks you have $13,000 coming into your bank account every 2 weeks. Complete 360. What's going on, DeMarcus? Okay. Every 2 weeks. Paris, you said big time. Okay. Charles can teach me time. Okay. Okay, definitely. Yeah, I actually ran into Charles at InvestFest. Cool dude. So, Emily, I see you with the emoji. Definitely, definitely. Malik. Okay. Life changing. So I'm gonna show you some secrets. And these are things that I've gained from somebody, a mentor of mine that's his net worth is currently is an 8-figure net worth. It's 50 million plus. So let me go ahead and turn on the lights. We're gonna get started. Woo, I'm excited. Don, we about to get started. We about to get started. All right, cool. So let's see. Cool, cool. We got 50 people on. Couldn't even imagine. Okay, so let me go ahead and open this up and we'll get started. I just want to make sure it's recording. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so the very first thing that I've learned across my experience, starting from where I started and where I am now, most people don't fail because of lack of strategy, like the how to do it. They fail because of lack of identity. And I'll talk about this in a bit. If your mindset and values aren't aligned with your goals, your behaviors will never follow. Okay. So, what do I mean by that? And I have some notes. I have some notes and I'm going to be reading it, but I'm going to explain it and make sure you guys understand. So what I've learned is based off of your belief system, based off of the values that you have as a man or as a woman, that is going to directly influence your behavior. Okay. Type of 1% in the chat if you guys are following along. I want to make sure you guys are engaged. Based, I'm gonna say it one more time. Cool, cool. Thank you guys are going crazy. All right, cool. So based off, keep on coming, 1%, 1%. Okay. Based off of, and I'll do this. This is super impromptu. What's going on, Woodley? I'll say the person that is the most engaged, and I'll be looking in the chat, the most engaged, then actually implements everything that I'm going to teach you. The person that's just going crazy and they show me, like within 7 days, I'll actually see it. I'm going to give you guys a reward, one person a reward of $100, just to incentivize you guys to actually take this information and to apply it. All right. How does that sound? You guys can type it in the chat. How does that sound? Cool, cool. Cool, cool. What's going on, TJ? All right, cool. So now, more money is not a problem. You'd be surprised. More money is, people go crazy. That's the one. So anyways, so based off of your belief system and the values that you have will directly influence your behavior. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm Nigerian. Do I have anybody that's Nigerian here? You guys can type of 1% in the chat. Anybody Nigerian? Omatola? I know you are. Anybody else? How do I know? Hope? Okay. Dang, dang, you know. That's some Nigerians here. I thought it was just Omatola. Story is funny. Story is white. All right, cool. All right, so as a Nigerian growing up, no, but Fufu's lit. As a Nigerian growing up, I was taught when an elder, and let me know if you guys relate or if you, I know for a fact, yes. But growing up, when someone older than you, like an elder, comes into the room, you have to prostrate, right? Right. You have to like kneel and like bend and like greet the person. It's how you greet somebody and shows a sign of respect. Literally, I remember My uncle came in and I was like, hi, uncle. And my mom slapped the shit out of me. She's like, hey, why are you not supposed to dabale? All this other stuff. You guys know, I'm pretty sure you guys have probably experienced that. Right? Those who are Nigerian. So, as a Nigerian, as a child, they have programmed me and educated me. When someone comes into the room and they're an elderly person, they're older than you, right? You have to prostrate, you have to dabali, you have to like kneel and show a sign of respect. I am 28 years old. If someone that comes into this Airbnb and I do not know him, I don't know who this guy is, like strangers, I will automatically, by default, prostrate and show a sign of respect. Now, let's talk about it. Most people do not fail because of lack of strategy. They fail because lack of identity. Okay. Based off of your beliefs and values, your behaviors is derived from that. Based on my belief and my values of respect that I was taught at a young age, by default, when someone comes into the room and he's older, I am going to prostrate. Based on my beliefs, what I'm trying to say is based on my beliefs and values, there is a certain action that I do. Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Based on my beliefs, Max, I see you. LaRon, cool. And type of 2 if that's confusing. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Now, why is this important? Now, over the years, I've understood and had to adopt new beliefs. There are certain belief systems and values that's hurting you when it comes to creating wealth, that's hurting you when it comes to making $500,000 a year. Okay. So the whole point that I'm trying to make is the first point I want you guys to understand is you need to have the identity of someone who makes $500,000 a year. The identity of someone who makes $500,000 a year has certain belief systems, have certain beliefs and values. Okay, that's just point number one. It's not about how to do it. That's important. That's still a part of it. But 95% of everything is mindset, is who you are. Based off your beliefs, you're going to do certain actions. Just want to make sure that's important. Okay, so how you think, how you program your mind. Okay. Now, I'm going to who you decide to be matters more than what you do. I'm gonna say that one more time. Who you decide to be is a decision. Who you decide to be matters more than what you do. Okay. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. For me, my identity and my belief system, and I adopted this, I think like 2 years ago. Maybe not, I think yeah, 2 years ago. I can't remember. I told myself, I am somebody, the baseline, the minimum amount of money that I will ever make, and this is before I was making 135. This is before I was making 500, specifically $489,000 a year. I told myself the least amount of money I will ever make, and that's the baseline, is $500,000 a year. That's not the goal. You fall to the level of your identity. Because if you have a goal and you don't hit it, you're going to fall to the level of your identity, to your standards. Okay? Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. It's okay if it doesn't, type 2. Cool, 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 cool. So, even right now, I'm trying to do certain actions to lose weight, going to the gym, fasting, okay, having a certain diet, But all of those things matter. But if I'm not the person to go to, if I'm not the type of person that goes to the gym, that eats healthy, if I don't have the identity of someone who is fit, I can go to the gym for a week or two and then fall off because my baseline and my standards. I know some people, they have really strict standards, they really watch what they eat. And that's the actions of what they do. Go to the gym, watch what they eat. But at the core, at the heart, it is their belief and their identity. Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Cool. Tommy, I see you. Max, Daniel, almost something. You guys going fast. Emily, okay. Darnell, Justina, Rowan. Everyday classics. Okay, I see you. Hope, nice. Miko, Kendall, okay, cool. Now, what is the identity of a 1%er? What is the identity of a 1%er? And the best thing about this, guys, is like you actually get to choose. If no one tells you this, you're actually going to accept the identity of and accept the belief system. Typically, we get our beliefs from our parents, right? My mom is very conservative. When I told my mom I invested $3,000 when I first started investing, huh? You did what? Right? It's because of her belief about investing. Okay. My mom is very conservative. My dad is very he's cheap as hell. Okay. But if I didn't know better and if I wasn't aware, I would have adopted that belief on a subconscious level. Yes, sir. Atomic habits is crucial. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is you actually have the choice and you can actually choose what beliefs you want. I told myself minimum is $500,000. And saying that, I knew $500,000 was freaking insane. It still is. It's a lot of money. But I reprogrammed my mind to believe that that's actually like the baseline. And it's super important that you actually have that mindset. So, anyways, the identity of a 1%er. Okay. Now I have some, so I'll post this in the chat. Okay. And you guys can create your identity statements, but I'm going to share. So for example, I am the type of person who, right? And then give me one identity statement. Okay. So I'm going to give a few of things that I've come up with. I am the type of person who multiplies money instead of wasting it. Now, keep in mind, I just went out to eat last night. I spent a good amount of money. I never spent that amount on eating, actually. Okay. But I want you to understand, anytime I receive a dollar, my belief around money, if I get $1, I think, how can I turn this $1 to $10? Every single time. Because I believe money is a tool to be used to make more money. I do not have a belief system of money, and most people do, and I did before. Money is just something that I store, like in a piggy bank, and I don't want to move it. Money for me is like a river. Money comes in, money goes back out in the form of an investment, because that's how you multiply money. It can be through knowledge, it can be through stocks or real estate, a vehicle. Money comes in. My belief around money is $1 comes in, $10 comes back out. Okay. So money is like a river. It's not like a cage. It's not like a piggy bank. That is my belief about money. I am the type of person who multiplies money. Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Max, Tommy, okay? Cool. Nice. This is one of the first beliefs that I had to understand about money to get me in alignment with not low class, middle class, but to get me in alignment with people who are wealthy, they have this belief. The biggest, and this is all about mindset. I want you guys to really, hopefully someone takes this home, and I hope it hits somebody. The best advice I got, and I've seen the best advice. Someone can show you step by step. Everybody that's in the program, you literally have a step by step method of making 500,000 to actually hit your first $1 million, the 1% university. Like it's step by step, right? But if you're not the person to actually do it, you're not going. Everybody can get access to the gym. Most people can, but most people are not going to go to the gym. My main point in me saying is the best advice I got is you want to look at somebody. Like, for example, if my goal is to make millions or to impact, my goal is to impact millions of lives. Okay. Even I'm not looking at what they're doing. I'm looking on the characteristics, their beliefs, and the identity of who that person is. Because by default, I am going to attract what I'm looking for. Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. That's the biggest piece, the biggest advice I've ever heard. And so now I'm not focusing on the actions. Yes, that's a part of it. But at the core, I'm focusing on the identity, the beliefs. Because if I was to get that down, what I'm supposed to do is a byproduct of who I am, like by default. Like every day I've been like studying, I've been working like every single day. Like I was drinking last night. I came back home, had a little fun, like still like dancing and doing stuff like that. But then I don't know if you guys saw my stories. It's like around 4 or something. I'm like studying while still being kind of a little lit because it's a part of me. Because I've had the belief of the person that I need to become to impact millions of lives. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You guys can type in 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Being able to adopt a mindset like this, to adopt a mindset of someone who makes $500,000, of someone who makes $1 million. Literally, I'm in a community where there's people doing $1 million a month. $1 million a month. Sounds insane. But what I really want to, and I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea, it's not really about the money for me. It's about the identity. Who is that person? What does he believe? For me, it's about reaching the maximum potential that I have as a man, right? So who, let's go back. I am the type of person who chooses long-term wealth over short-term pleasure. I could have bought, you guys saw, I don't know if you guys saw the Porsche people that's not in the community, like that's not in the program. But I recently just bought a Porsche and I bought a house, like back to back. And I left my 9 to 5. I retired. In terms of the Porsche, I'm saying Porsche, it's pronounced Porsche. In terms of the Porsche and the house, I could have bought that at like I could have bought that July. I could have bought that in 2023. But why didn't I? Because it didn't make any sense for me to get money and be like a little decent and then just spend it. Okay. They just so I am the type of person to who chooses long-term wealth over short-term pleasures. Imagine making $28,000 because that's what it was hitting my bank account, and then you could buy like literally anything you probably think about. But then you have to discipline because it's the identity that I adopted, right? To say 95% of this money I'm going to invest it because I had to. I am the type of person who, right? That is your identity statement. I am the type of person who invests in myself before I buy toys. I am the type of person who protects my mornings and my focus. I am the type of person who sees a problem, who sees problems as opportunities to grow. I'm the type of person who does what I said I would do, even when I don't feel like it. I'm the type of person who makes 500K working smarter, not harder. I'm the type of person who turns knowledge into execution and results. I am the type of person who creates freedom for my family through wealth. I am the type of person who treats money as a tool, not a toy. I am the type of person who seeks mentorship and applies what I learn. So don't worry, I'm going to give you guys this. It's like it's 20 list of like the identity of a one percenter. Okay. If you ask ChatGPT, I think at the time I was 27. Yeah, I was. I said, how many 27-year-olds in the whole world is making $500,000 a year? I'll actually put it in the chat. It's not 1%. You guys type it in the chat. How many, what percent of people do you think that's 27-year-olds making $500,000 a year? What percent? Delayed gratification, I see you. 0.00, 18%, less than 1 for sure, 0.5. Okay, let's find out. What percent of people in the world who are 27 years old that make $500 a year? Should have just said give me a simple answer because it's gonna be blah 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 blah. So far less than 0.1, possibly on the order of some whoever said 0.001, you probably researched it, but on the order of 0.001 or lower. Essentially, almost no one at that age worldwide hits that income level. Okay. I don't know if you guys, so I don't know if the people who's not in my program. I don't know if the people who's not in my program, if they've ever seen my offer letters, right, in my pay stubs. I used to send it out, but all my students in the community, you've seen my pay stubs, right? I don't know if you've seen so my main point is you've seen the offer letters. It was $489,000, those who have seen it. Now, what makes me, I literally am a part of that rare percentage. Well, it was, right? Because, well, I don't want to share how much I'm making now, but you guys get the point. Now, how do you become so rare? Right? At the core of it, it wasn't what it wasn't what I did. It was my beliefs. It was who I needed to become, my identity. Let me see. Darnell, you there?
Yo, yo.
What's going on, boss?
Good, bro.
And I'm always going to say this because I remember this vividly. So me and Darnell used to work out together. And I was like, I was so freaking hungry. I was like, we was working out. I got pumped. You know, when you work out, you get that adrenaline. And I'm like, yo, I'm hitting 500K this year. Like I just had like a savage look in my eyes, and I remember, and I was like that's just what's going to happen. It's going to work where it's going to work. That's my belief, right? That's my belief. And like Darnell was there, like he witnessed this. So Darnell, you remember that?
Oh, no, for sure. You had that look in your eye. You know what I'm saying? Boy, was hungry.
You remember when like I actually hit it? Like what was going through your head? Or like like from your perspective?
Guy's a dog, man. And I feel like it was just like if you can do it, I can do it. So it made it real personal for me, you know what I'm saying? So I saw you do it, so now I'm on the road to try to do the same thing.
Okay. So those who don't know, Darnell's was, well, I guess he's still a student, but he joined the program. He's making decent money from it, and he's scaling at $500,000. Stormy, you there?
Yeah.
And I always talk about this in terms of, belief and people on the Sunday call. You guys have heard this before, but Stormy, based off of everything that you know right now, in the program, do you really think you can make $500,000 a year?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it soon too.
And why is that?
Just gonna job stack and just follow the instructions.
But what makes you think you can actually do it though?
Just because I know I can, I'm that guy.
Okay. And so like what's some of the things that you've learned throughout this program that helped you actually believe that?
You just gotta. I would say you just gotta get the job, and then you'll learn on the way, like when you kind of get there. Because like nobody really knows everything about any kind of job because everything's so different when you get there. But you just gotta have the mindset that you're gonna learn it once you get there.
Okay.
It ain't even about being ready. It's just that you can get once you get there, you're gonna learn it.
Okay. And so with the job that you have right now, do you feel like you're kind of settled? Because I know how long you been working at the job?
Like 2.5, 3 months.
Okay. And do you feel comfortable like you can actually job stack and do you feel comfortable at the job? Yeah.
I'd say I'm still kind of slow at the job, but I'm still gonna job stack anyways because I'm not trying to just settle for one job.
Okay. And so um so based off of, and by the way, guys, Stormy, um, those who joined online through my Instagram, Stormy, kind of share your experience about tech. Like you was in tech already, right?
When I first started, I wasn't, but whenever I started this program, I got a help desk job right away, so that way I could start making money while I was learning.
So you had a college degree, a tech degree?
Nope, none of that.
You had any tech certifications?
Nope.
And so what was your knowledge about computers before meeting me?
I just knew how to turn it on. That was it.
Say that one more time.
I just knew how to turn it on. That was it.
So just turn on the computer.
Yeah, that was it. I used to hate computers because I didn't know how to use them, but now I'm pretty good at it.
So based off of the process, you're able to learn the skills of the cloud engineer, and now you have. And so, how much? If you don't mind sharing, do you mind sharing with everybody how much you make?
Yeah, I'm making 110 salary right now.
Okay. And so now you're trying to scale to 500,000.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that second job. So I'm starting to use the virtual assistant. So.
Okay. And so I'm sharing this, guys, because at the end of the day, Stormy is somebody who did not know anything about tech, right? Nothing. He just literally turned on the computer. Okay. He didn't know what a RAM was. He didn't know about like CPU, just different basic stuff. And now he's able to go through a process because he believed that it was going to work. And now he's in a position, you're in a better position than where you were before, Stormy?
Yeah, much better now. Now I
Okay.
don't have to live like paycheck to paycheck.
Okay. Don't live paycheck to pay. You paid off your debt?
Yeah,
Okay. And now you're in the process of making your first $1 million net worth?
yeah. Now I'm just my next like practical goal is to get a job. I want to say maybe in the next month or two. Sometimes these interviews they do get a little lengthy, but yeah, my goal is to realistically land that next job in like a month or two.
Okay. And so I know in the program you had doubt, you had fear a little bit. But what made you keep on going? Like, did you have some type of belief or hope that it was going to work out for you?
Yeah, I knew it'd work out. I just knew at some point, just putting in the hours, I would, learn the material at least well enough to get a job. Not even perfected, just well enough to get in there. Because I knew as long as I can land that job, I'll get some good experience.
Okay. And so what was your why? Like, why did you even wanted to do this or even continue when things got rough?
Because I was after I got out the military, I didn't have like a real skill, and I was like, well, I got to do something. I can't just be homeless or living at home with mom. So I was like, I got to figure something out. So I ended up giving this a try and ended up, working out better than any job I've had before. So
Okay.
I had to stick with it. Yeah, my why is I don't want to go broke and move back home with mom.
Okay. Now, one of the main points I want to make, number one, Stormy, no degree, no certifications, no knowledge in tech, and he's able to go through a process where he's in a better place now. And a part of that was his belief, his why. And I want to circle back to, not circle back, I want to continue this conversation on why. Um, and so actually, Felipe, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So you can go ahead and share.
Yeah, so like Stormy, right? had no experience in tech, I'm pretty sure you had no idea what you were really getting into before you actually got the job. So like you specifically that you actually ended up getting a hybrid role, right? Do you feel intimidated? Do you feel intimidated at the workforce now?
Only sometimes. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, but for the most part, I just go into every problem they assign to me, and I just kind of figure it out as I'm going.
Do you feel like you have the tools needed to actually solve these problems from the
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
So what I want to share is you know, we first start talking about identity, who you need to become, some of the beliefs. And I'll send you a list of like the identity statements too. I'll type it in the chat. But it is so crazy, right? I tell people you don't need to join this program, right? You can actually do a lot of different options. You can even look at stuff online. You like I learned this stuff myself. There wasn't like a step-by-step program. There was actually, and I bought it. I actually forgot I bought it. But in terms of actually getting this cloud engineer role, that's a lot of stuff I learned myself. Now, um, what I want to say, so I want to clarify it. I took a course, a program, my cousin. It was an AWS cloud administrator. Now that's a little bit different. I learned the basis of AWS, but cloud engineering, I learned that stuff myself. Now, the biggest point, and I don't want you guys to miss this, gem. One of the biggest point was how Stormy was able to go through this program and be successful. Darnell, there's a bunch of different students I can name. Isaac, right? Um, Isaac, you there? Is Isaac there? Yeah, Isaac's there. Isaac, you there?
Yo, what's good?
Not that much. So Isaac is one of the one of my he's seen really good results. Um, kind of talk about some of the offer letters you've received since working with me.
Yeah. So on the same day, actually, I got my current offer letter, and I also got one for Visa. And so the my current one, it's hourly, so it's 77.50 an hour. And originally it was actually 70 an hour, but then I was able to use the other offer to leverage to get paid more. And
Okay.
then the one for Visa, that one would have been like 240 like total compensation.
Okay. Okay. And then I want you guys to understand that, and so number one, thanks for sharing. And the reason why I'm calling on certain people is because the outcome is sounds insane. Sounds really good. The reality is there's going to be a lot of people online telling you like, oh, like this person made this person made this. I'm letting you know it is not going to work for you if you don't have one thing that I'm about to share. Okay. It sounds amazing. This stuff, it's unbelievable. Honestly, I still don't believe this stuff exists. But you will not be able to achieve the same level of results without this. Even my current students take notes on this and apply it. Now, the thing that you need for this to work, to actually get those results, is something called an emotional why. I'm gonna say it one more time. An emotional why. Now, there's a couple of people on here that I know that you guys already heard this before in the Sunday calls, but I want to revisit this and then also teach it to people who's never heard this before. So ever since I can remember, I think my earliest memory is like my mom and dad just working super hard. I remember like kissing my mom on the cheek because she was about to go to work. And then like I didn't want her to go to work. Literally, both my parents. I remember okay, this is my mom's a nurse, right? She goes to work. She leaves the house at 10:30. Or I think yeah, 10:30. She does her night shift. I think she gets off. I forgot when she gets off of work. All I remember is that she comes home around like 7:30, right? 7:30, sometimes 8:30, because she goes to work and then she goes to her other job. And then at the time she had a business, so she was doing 3 jobs. She would literally come home, make my dad food, right? She's still being a wife, like take care of kids, raising kids. She would literally, on a good day, sleep for around 2 to 3 hours. Now, I would see my mom 30 minutes. I just need to lie down and then wake up. I'm like, what the hell? That ain't normal. For as long as I can remember, she's been doing that. When I came back from college, 2019, it didn't hit me until like 2021 because I saw my mom walking up the steps and she's like grabbing like the little handle to walk up, right? Her knees is like getting old, right? Um, and I just see her body deteriorating specifically, right? My dad works hard too, like he does his thing, but me specifically, this memory is my mother. I said, damn, I'm so used to my mom working like this, it's like normal. Like literally, she works nonstop and she sleeps for about like 30 minutes average. An hour, 2 hours is like a good day. I told myself, and it really hit me. It really hit me when she was struggling to walk up the steps. I said, I'm going to retire my mother. Last year, August, I was able to retire my mother. She was crying. She couldn't believe it. And I was telling her, I don't think she believed me. I said, Mom, I'm going to retire you. 1%. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this story is because how it made me feel to see someone I love, my mom and dad, but I'm just talking about this specific memory with my mom. But my mom and dad working OD, like just crazy amount of hours, wear and tear. They don't go on vacations. They barely go on vacations. Like they go to Nigeria like my dad once a year, my mom like every 3, 2, like different variations. And so I said, it was just so emotional for me. There should be no, my parents raised us really well. And I just had the mindset like no one needs to tell me I need to take care of my parents. And so I'm sharing this story is because that was my emotional why. Since December 2021, I've been studying every single day. I've been applying, I've been learning, I've been getting stuff done every single day. I've realistically missed around like anywhere from 5 to 10 days since December 2021. And I'm still going. I have a bigger why, which is to help people on a global scale who really needs it. Something that I actually care about. Now, I want you guys to understand there are times where I wanted to quit. I got scammed for 10 bands for $10,000 at one point. I shared about that experience on my story. I got scammed for a crypto DeFi project, and I was really into DeFi. DeFi is amazing, but anyway, that's a different story. For like $23,000. Now at the time, I was making like 3,000 a month, and after expenses, I had $200 left. So it's not like I had money to invest, but it didn't matter because I had the belief. Sorry, I had the emotional why. My emotional why was so strong. I was not going to give up. My emotional why was I want to be able to tell my mom, you do not ever have to work a day in your life because of how tired she's been for years. That feeling, when I did tell my mom, you straight, I got you. The money really don't matter. I'm not gonna lie to you. That mattered to me because that was my why. That's why I started. Your emotional why has to be outside of yourself. Your emotional why has to be outside of yourself. Type a 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Okay. I still got you with the question, by the way. Your emotional why. Cool, cool. I see you, Paris. Amisha, Temidayo, Jared, Hope, Daniel, Miko, Rowan. It's good to see you guys. Okay. I'm gonna actually record this. Your emotional why has to be outside of yourself. Okay, that's number one. And number two, your emotional why has to, you have to be on the brink. It has to make you want to cry. It has to move you on an emotional way. Because that is where that's what's going to fuel you. Everything that I've done to get the things that I've received. Number one, God has blessed me with this stuff, right? It's not really I, it's God, right? But it comes from that fuel. It comes from that emotional why. It comes from me remembering the struggles of my parents and wanting to take care of them. Does that make sense? Type in 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Okay. Max, I see you. Kurt. Okay. Jared, Tommy, Woodland. Okay. Okay. Now, honestly, the main point I'm trying to make is mindset is everything. The biggest thing that I've learned is in terms of the identity, like you can actually have any identity you want. You actually can control that. You just have to be aware and work on that. Like you can't really bullshit on that. Because we have identities that don't serve us. Like what you have, like literally, if you look at your bank account, your relationships, your health, if you look externally on what you have, it's literally a direct relationship internally. Like literally, it's actually kind of scary. It is actually kind of crazy. Everything you have is direct, externally, is a direct relationship on who you are internally. I had to become aware of that and to even know that it's something that I can change and influence. So, for an example, so before we continue, type in 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Everything you have externally, direct relationship with who you are internally. And Max is the first person saying 1%. I see him every single time. Like he beating everybody. Okay. So, um, I want to equip, and I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give everybody like action steps, things that you're gonna leave with this conversation that you can do. But right now, your strategy won't get you to 500K. Your why will. Because when the late night hit, when fear shows up, when things don't go as planned, strategy will not keep you going. Only your why will. I invested into a program. There was a strategy. It didn't work. Right? The guy ended up scamming me. But my why was still there. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, type in 1%. Max, I see you, Jared. Okay. Okay. Your why has to be deeper than money. It has to be something emotional, something outside of yourself. Otherwise, you'll quit when things get hard. Now, I'm going to give it about like 3 to 5 minutes, but I want you guys to share your why in the comments. Now, if you're driving, please do not type it. But for those, I personally actually want to see it. But go ahead and share your emotional why. I've heard people say that they want more, and this is something that everyone should do. I highly recommend it because I'm going to ask you to do something else right after that. It's going to help you. Okay. But some people say my why I joined the program is to have more time and money for my kids. Type of 1% in chat if that sounds like you. More time and money for your kids. That's me, Titevi. Okay. Okay. Some people say freedom, but go ahead and type your emotional why. So I see Josier, please, I apologize if I'm pronouncing anybody's name wrong. It's your why is to provide for my mother and father who also worked themselves ragged for my siblings and me. That was me. To be a full-time dad and husband. Yes, sir. My family deserves, okay? To retire my mom. Time and location freedom.
It's your Facebook in a little bit.
Okay. To get out the matrix. Yes, sir. It's crazy. It's when she actually see you. Anyways, my daughter, my wife to provide more time to accomplish my real life goals. 1000%. Natasha said, I want to be successful because I carry the responsibility of creating a better life for my son and my mother. Every step I take towards success means stability, freedom, and opportunities that I didn't always have. I want my son to see the hard work, resilience, and faith can turn dreams into reality. I want my mother to rest knowing her sacrifices were not in vain. I ain't gonna lie, that's $100 answer right there. I ain't gonna lie to you. But for real, that was really good. And that right there is a clear emotional why. It's not for me, by the way. This is for you. This is for you guys. Okay. I definitely want everybody to have a clear emotional why. Type it, but then also I want you to, when you leave, write this down. Okay. I want this to be in your environment, but more importantly, something that you think about all the time. John says to let my parents know they did a great job. Retired parents for my mom. Retired both my parents. Okay. Okay. Then you guys have good. Okay. Without financial freedom, you can't truly be free. I'm trying to tell you, it is insane. They own you. They own your time. I need to do this not only for myself, but to also uplift the people around me to make their lives better as well. Yes. Now there's 3 levels. This is a 3-level exercise. Okay. The answer that you just typed in the chat, and still type it. If you haven't typed it, still type it. Okay. Okay. And I'm gonna go back and read this because some of you guys already got to the root. Okay, so for example, so DSG, you said to give my future kids a better life that I had growing up. Why is that important to you? Right? Type that in the chat. For the people that typed in the chat, we're gonna go a level deeper. Why? The answer that you said, ask yourself, why is that important to you? And type that in the chat. Okay. I'm gonna give another 2 to 3 minutes. And I'm reading everyone's why. I don't want to talk because I don't want to distract you guys. I see you, Derek. Let's make sure my baby's okay. Okay. Anton. And please, like I said, forgive me if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Anthony? And my apologies. Because after my dad passed away, I saw my mom working hard at the hardest time to provide to us. Okay. Hopes that it's important to have stability in life to be able to stand on your 2 feet. Okay. Miko said, as a nurse, gaining financial freedom will give my time back. Okay. You guys have really, 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 really good whys. Jesus Christ. Wow. Okay. Because she sacrificed for me, and so the chat is literally going crazy right now. For me, and I didn't want it to be in vain. Okay. So we're gonna go one more level. And so some people, your why is already at the deepest level. Okay. And so even me saying why is that important to you, it may not really apply if you're at the core already. But what we're doing is we're just pushing deeper to get to the real core. Okay, to get to that real raw core emotion. So, for example, Paris, You said, when I found what my purpose in life was, I decided to take the route that eventually led me to this program. But why does that really matter? Like, why? Why is it important, right? In terms of, you said when you found what your purpose was in life. Like, why is that important? Why does that really matter to you? Right? And so everybody that answered, we're going another level deep. Why does that really matter? Why does that really matter? Huh? Why does that really matter? Hey, Parker, what's going on, man? Always good to see you. So Parker said, my mom raised my sister and I by herself. She hates her job. She shouldn't have to work another day in her life. You making me about to cry, because it's like I'm you and you me. No, seriously. Also, I see the way money influences politics and regional conflicts for evil. I want to combat it with good investments. I'm also an artist, and my days of composing are limited to my lifespan. Need more time to compose. I'm not gonna lie. I really want you to have more time, Parker. And I think I've told you this before, but when you do post, literally, I sit down and I watch your videos from A to Z because as an artist, you are very good. Honestly, I am a fan. It's really good. You have a really good voice, bro. A really good voice. That's just a side note. But you want to be able to go 3 levels deep. Sorry, 2. This is my why. Okay. Why is that important to you? It's important to me because, okay, for example, I want time and money freedom. Okay, but why is that important to you? It's important to me because I want to have the time to be able to travel the world and really, you know, explore different cultures and not to be stuck in this matrix. Okay, that's good. But why does that really matter? Why does that really matter? Because like I feel as though if I go through life without actually experiencing, traveling and exploring different cultures, one of the reasons why I want to, and this is my own why, by the way, and another one, like about traveling, I do want to travel a lot, but to be able to get that experience of experiencing different cultures, I feel like there is a sense of growth and learning. Like I'm even going to evolve from who I am as a person, right? Being able to see what life has to offer and to be able to miss out on that, um, it's just something I'm not willing to like pass up on. Like it's very important to me. Okay. So that's just an example. Okay. One more. Why do you really want to hit $500,000 a year to be free, to travel, to retire my mom? But why is that important to you? Because my parents sacrificed everything for me. Why does that really matter? Because I refuse to let my family struggle the way I did. The first why is surface level most of the time. But the third why, that is your fuel. That's the one that will make you emotional. And that's the one that's going to make you unstoppable. Okay. That last why is the thing that's going to make you unstoppable. Okay. Go ahead and type a 1% in the chat if that makes sense. You guys are following. Max, Natasha. Max, you always first, man. Love it. DSG, John, Derek, Paris, Drew. Okay. It's going too fast. Kurt, Woodland, Jeremy, Rowan, Tariq. It's good to see you, Tariq. All right. Cool. Cool. Now, we have about 5 minutes, but I'll make sure you guys have everything you need. You might need to explain it for like another 10. Okay. Because I'm going to give you like things that you can do tangible. Now, There's a formula that you need to have. And I call it the commitment formula. Mindset is the foundation. Your why is the fuel. But commitment is the bridge between your values and your outcomes. Okay? Everybody says they want to be financially free. They want to build generational wealth, but very few people make the commitments required to actually get there. Have you guys like seen people like that, or even yourself? I used to be like that. I want this, right? But I just lack commitment, lack the actual like actions, the decision. She's me, I'm her. Thank you for being honest, Amisha, all the time, right? And that's okay. Well, that's not okay to continue doing that when you get access to information like this. But I'm going to help you guys out. This is what I wish I knew when I started. Man, you have no idea. Without commitment, your why, the things that you want, it literally just becomes a wish, becomes a dream. And I'm here to bridge the gap between your dreams and reality. There's four rules of commitment. Invest upfront. Now, what do I mean by that? And I want to be clear, anybody watching online, now there's a lot of people that will get you guys to come to like calls like these or something like that, and they'll like give you information and sell you their program. I tell people, look, number one, I don't accept just anybody in my program. That's number one. Number two, you do not have to join my program to see success. Not at all. I just want that to be very clear. But this principle, I want you to truly adopt this, because this is going to get what you want. It's the stuff that I did. Number one, invest upfront. If you don't pay, you don't pay attention. Skin in the game makes you serious. Even if you look at the data, it backs it up. And you can ask ChatGPT this stuff. If you look at free online courses, they have an average rate, a completion rate of 5 to 10%. But when people pay, completion jumps to 30 to 60%. And that's just a course, right? Not like a program, community, like coaching calls like this, right? But that's just the course. Free information. It's free. 5 to 10%, paying 30 to 60 completion rate. That's a 3 to 6x difference just because of commitment. Matthew 6:21 says, For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I'm reading, I'm not, look, I don't got Bible verses in my head, but that's one of my favorite verses. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I'm going to put this in the chat and I'm going to explain. There's different, bringing church to the Zoom, really funny. So there's different interpretations, right? I think the first time I learned this, it was talking about like storing your treasures in heaven and not on earth, right? But when I saw this from a business perspective, okay, everybody that's on this call, if you be honest with yourself, if you go to your bank statements and look at the last 30 days and look at where you store your treasure, where you spent your money, right? For me, I used to play video games. I had like Xbox Live fees and like different games I used to buy all the time. But if you go to your bank statements, makeup, just different stuff, like you can actually see what you value. Remember how we talked about value, your beliefs and what you value, right? Based on where you store your money, okay? Wherever your money goes, your attention goes, your focus and your energy will follow. Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Can you guys relate? Like if you look in your bank statements, is like where your money is, that's where your time and energy goes. Right? 1%. Okay. Okay. And so like what do you guys, and you could type in the chat, what do you think if if I wanted to get fit, if you guys wanted to get fit, where would your time, where would your money need to go into so that your energy and your time, your focus can go. You guys can type it in the chat. Personal training. Ta-da! Ain't that crazy? Paris said I quit my job so I could. I made an IG reel about that. You don't gotta quit your job, but um, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm a little bit on the extreme end. That's something that anyway, that's something I would do, but I don't recommend because everybody's risk is different. Everybody's situation is different. I don't know your situation. I just want to be clear. You don't have to do that, but it's that shows the level of seriousness, intensity, and value of what you do have in terms of quitting your job so you can dedicate your full time towards this program. So Darnell said proper nutrition in the gym, personal training. Cool. Literally, like when you pay for something, have you ever paid for something? You're like, I want my money back. Like I'm going to do the work and I'm going to like do what he says so I can get my money back. Probably everybody that paid for this program. Have you guys felt like that? Like you paid and you're not gonna waste your money. You're gonna do what you need to do so that you can get your money back. I secured a remote job so I can tighten my schedule and finish this program. Natasha said, yep, 100%. This ain't a cheap program. This ain't cheap. There's other competitors that no, we don't do cheap. We do quality. Okay. Anyways, so there's 4 rules of commitment. The first one is invest upfront, and now you know why. Okay. The second rule is you need to set a timeline. A goal without a timeline is just a fantasy. Deadlines create urgency and action. It's so crazy. Today, I did not go to the last day of InvestFest because I'm reading this book. Okay. I'm going to finish this book like today. I've only read 2 books in my life. It's kind of crazy. Like I read to like from front to back, only 2 books. I read a lot of books, but I do not complete them. I do get a lot of value. Books is such a cheat code, FYI. Anyways, the 2 books that I've read, the first one, I'm not kidding, that I've ever read was Goosebumps. Anybody know Goosebumps? Type of 1% in the chat if you know Goosebumps. Derek, what about college, bro? That's a whole different story. I was smoking like crazy back in the day. Jesus Christ, I don't even know how I graduated college. Anyways, I'm gonna read my next. Okay. What's going on, Drew? I didn't know he was gonna be on here, man. So Drew's like at InvestFest too. I met him the other day. Cool dude, cool. Okay. Yeah, read that book, bro. Like read it ASAP. ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. Anyways, so I've read about 5 books or so from front to back, so I don't feel ashamed. I've read 2 books. The first one, Goosebumps. The second one, Rich Dad Poor Dad. When I read that book, that was the spark of everything. I read that in 2021. I was going through it. I was going through it my first. I was so broke. Jesus Christ, you have no idea. Anyways, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's how everything started for me. Okay. Now, when I say set a timeline, it's so important because all the books that I started and I didn't read, I did not set a timeline. And I wasn't intentional. There was no urgency. You can tell yourself, I want to, I don't know if you guys ever said this, I'm gonna clean my room in like in a week or whatever. Or you're like, I'm gonna clean my room in an hour. Right? When you set a time, it creates urgency, it creates action. Number 1, invest upfront. Number 2, set a timeline. Number 3, install feedback and accountability. Feedback shortens your learning curve. It is not even funny. When you guys go through the mock interview, right, with Felipe, and he's going to be doing the mock interview with you, at the end, he gives you feedback on what you need to do, what you did wrong, and what you need to do to actually get the skill. $500,000. Okay. It shortens the learning curve because someone who has the success of what you're looking for, if you're doing something and you don't even know you're doing it wrong, getting that feedback from someone who has success is going. You don't have to. It's not going to take you 3 to 6 months to figure it out. It can take you 30 minutes off of a conversation. Okay. Feedback shortens your learning curve, And accountability keeps you consistent. Have you noticed how that we have those two components in this program that's done intentionally? Feedback and accountability. How we reach out to you guys every week, every Sunday. Okay. So alone, you'll quit. With accountability, you'll win. I don't know what it is psychologically with my personal trainer. Because I know we have a day we're supposed to meet, and even though when I don't feel like doing it, I still go because it's like he's like somebody else. I don't know how to explain it. Accountability is so powerful. Number one, invest upfront. Number two, set a timeline. Number three, install feedback and accountability. Number four, remove opposition. Man, do y'all see that camera moving? Hold up now. Oh, that's kind of cool. I'm childish.
That's a picture on Mac. You ain't know that?
I know they had it on the iPad. You know, see, I'm from the village, right? This is like, oh my God. Let me stop. All right. So, number four, remove opposition. Okay. You can't build a $500,000 identity in an environment full of $50,000 distractions. You have to remove anything that fights your commitment. Right now in life, and I'm just being personal, and this is for my men. Now, growing up, I've heard, and I'm the youngest, I've seen, I like to learn from my brothers because, like, when they get their ass beat, I'm like, shit, what did you do? And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to do that. Right. And so I tend to look for other people's mistakes and try not to do the same mistakes. And I've seen as a man, the biggest downfall for us, this is just for my man out there, is women. Me personally, like I said, I'm just being personal. Oh, you already said it, Shane. Right? Am I lying? I'm gonna just be real. I like to be real with my family, my 1%ers. I'm an ass person. I'm at InvestFest. It's a lot of ass. Okay. But, right, you ain't lying. It's like, as a man, I've realized that a lot of the greatest men fall because of women. So, oh no, let me go to the other room, y'all. I'm just being real. I'm just being honest. Even though, and there's certain things I don't want to say because I don't want to be seen a certain way. I don't like when people's like, I'm making this money or I've done this, and they, their ego's in control and they just want to have a certain perspective. You know, I'll say this, even though I know what I could do, I don't because I understand and I've seen a lot of men, the great men, fall because of women. And I, my purpose is to impact millions of lives on a global scale. That's my mindset. It's crazy. You guys actually think I'm gonna hit it? Duh. Doesn't matter if you guys think it. But my main point is it's gonna happen. Okay? It's gonna happen. But removing opposition, that's the fourth element. That's the fourth rule of commitment. You have to remove anything that fights your commitment. I'm not gonna be chasing these girls. And that's just something personal, right? Like as a man, I mean, all the men on here, like, you don't gotta lie. We all have that emotion of lust. Some women do too, if y'all being honest. Okay. But to be able to resist that anything that can hurt you from your goal is so crucial. I've seen so many people take L's and fuck up because of ass. Because of opposition. I'm just being funny. But I'm saying that because I want to be vulnerable and I want to be real with you guys. And I know a lot of men can relate to that. But that's just one example, right? I've locked in for a long time. I didn't buy my dream car. I didn't buy my house, right? Because that was going to be in opposition towards my goal. right? Demisha, what you mean? How to remove that if it's something a person. So how to remove that if that's something a person used to, and I'm not just referring to women. Behind every great man, woman is a great partner that uplifts 1,000%. 1,000% what Parker just said. If you're trying to make fun of the question, I'm trying to tell you. Ugh, man. Anyways, so so going back, there's 4 rules of commitment. Commitment is the thing that's going to bridge the gap from your dream and a reality. Generational wealth, $500,000. The first rule, invest upfront. Where you store your treasure, right? Your time and energy is going to follow. Number 2, you need to set a timeline. Like have a date. Number 3, install feedback and accountability. And number 4, remove opposition. I cannot stress number 4 enough. Okay. Now, which one of these 4 rules hits you the hardest right now? You guys can type in the chat. Invest up front. That's number 1. Number 2 is set a timeline. Number 3, install feedback and accountability. Or number 4, remove opposition. Right? For me, it's number 4 because of the booty. I'm just being honest. I'm kidding, but I'm kidding, but I'm dead serious. But I'm kidding in a sense. Invest up front, set a timeline. Number 1, so I'll put it in the chat so you guys can just see it. You guys don't have to remember it. Number 4, okay. Okay, 2 and 4. Okay, 1. Okay, Max, I see you say 4. Remove opposition. Okay, Tariq, I see you say number 4. The booty. Okay. Okay, I'm just kidding. Um, every day. Okay. Okay, set a timeline. Remove opposition. Okay. I say 1 because I say 1 because it has more to do with your mindset rather than your resource. Yep. Yep. By the way, anybody that says like you don't have money, um, there is, I've heard, in Nigeria, right? Like, and I might be wrong because I'm not there, or they might have just exaggerated it. But the how we're able to actually use credit and get access to money and funding in America is so freaking crazy. So saying that you don't have money, I always say this, and I want everybody to leave with this. And I've said this before. It's never a money problem. I didn't have money when I started to invest. If someone said, hey, invest $3,000 into a program, and you're like, I don't have the money. Most people don't. Most people don't have $1,000 saved up. I didn't. But if someone says, hey, we just kidnapped your whole family and we're going to kill them in 7 days, even 7 hours, in 7 days. You have 7 days to come up with $20,000 or we're going to murder your whole family. What you going to tell them? Oh, sorry, I don't have the money. What are you going to do? You're going to figure it out. Right? You're going to get that money. And now that's an extreme, obviously. But the point I'm trying to make is there is a level of urgency and a priority for situations. For your dream to become a reality, it needs to be very important to you and have a certain level of urgency. Okay. And so even if you don't have the money, most people don't, but people who really want and are creative to tap into different resources, to become a person, an identity, a person who is creative, to find the money. I didn't have the money. I was broke. What? I was broke. I was broke. People felt sorry for me. For real. I was broke. But I made it happen. Okay. So, does that make sense? Type in 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Max, I see you. Max is always number 1. He's like, he types 1%, and as soon as I say what type of 1, he clicks. Hey, that has to be because I'm like, ain't no way he's that quick. Okay, Natasha, Woodland, cool, cool. Okay, that's it. That's it. Max is pretty fire. Right? Okay, cool. So, how to make $500,000 a year. That's the whole point of what I said on Instagram. This is what to do. Now, obviously, I can't teach you like the whole program, right? It's only for my students, but I'm still going to give you everything that you need to actually hit $500,000, even more. Okay, even more. Max is hacking. What's the biggest contribution outside of retirement? Let's keep it going. So I'll answer this because this is important. What's the biggest contribution outside of you retiring your mom that kept propelling you? Um, Trey, are you saying like what's keeping me going now? Um, Outside of retiring my mom? And I'll go with that, but you can clarify it and type it in the chat or if you want to come off mute. But for me, so 2014 was the first time I went to Nigeria. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, overall, just in general, like from then to now to like future, like what's kept, propelling you to continue moving forward outside of your mom.
So 2014, and this is a part of my story. 2014, I went to Nigeria for the first time. I've always heard my parents growing up, hey, I used to have to walk miles to fetch water. You can just turn on water and have it there. They would just describe their experience growing up in Nigeria. It was really hard. And I was like, y'all rapping, like y'all talking for no reason. Like I'm trying to play like Call of Duty. But 2014 was the first time I went to Nigeria. And they showed us the beautiful Nigeria is very beautiful, don't get me wrong. It's very beautiful. It's rich places and poor places, just like anywhere else in the world. But we went to the nice spots, it was amazing. And then we went to where they were from. In between the rich and the poor, my people come from like a village, right? Like raw village. Like it's kind of crazy. But in between that, I saw something that scarred me. Now, I am very emotional. I'm very empathetic. I can literally feel emotions, and it fucks me up sometimes. But what I saw scarred me. I literally saw like a sea of people, kids, scars, fucked up. Like, but they were so happy. They were running up to the call. They were playing. They didn't even know they were in poverty. Middle-aged people, elderly people sitting on the side of the road, just like staring, like they're like lifeless, like just waiting to die. I looked at my cousin because my cousin was like next to me. I said, "Yo, like, is this fucking normal?" He was just like, "Yeah." Now this is just in a specific area, right? And I was like, "Mom, like, anyways." So that right there was a culture shock for me, and I did not understand the level of poverty that certain places in Nigeria has. To this day, I still remember how that felt, and I said something that I said, I am going to help everybody here. Obviously, that's not possible. Like, I wanted to help everybody in poverty. My cousin was like, you can't do that. That's impossible. I was like, watch me. Growing up, I realized that's impossible. But my main point is when I say I want to build nonprofits, like nonprofit like schools, the 1% University in Nigeria and other third world countries, that's where it comes from. I want to be able to provide a resource where people can go to learn a skill to provide money for themselves so that they don't have to go through poverty at that level. My mother and father comes from a village. When I saw where they lived, it was insane. They came from a village and now they went to Bowie, Maryland. That's like it's like mansions, right? Knowing where they came from. So, anyways, I'm going on a tangent. That comes from being empathetic and understand, and I don't even understand it, but only imagining what some people go through, and they don't even have. So, some people they're just born into that, right? And so that drive comes from that. Me still like working at 4 o'clock in the morning, where I'm like still low key kind of drunk, comes from that emotion. comes from that emotional why. Even talking to you guys, I'm actually holding in my tears, right? But it does come from that. So that's where, and I want to share that because that was an experience that happened to me based on who I am. My brother saw the same thing, but I'm just a little bit more sensitive. Like I'm always been a little sensitive like child, right? So that's where that drive comes from. It's not about money. I could actually be making a lot more money and working less just doing IT. But it's about impact and it's about impacting millions of lives, which is why that's why I say what I say all the time. I digress. So going back to how to make $500,000 a year. Okay. Now, who here wants to learn how to make $500,000 a year? That's not in the program, right? Or even in the program. Go ahead and type a 1% in the chat. Tommy, okay. Damn, y'all. God damn. I can't even read the chat. All right. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Cool. Who here wants to know how to make $1 million a year? Type of 1%. Max lost this round. Y'all are funny. Right, okay. Y'all are funny. Got me geeking. All right, cool, 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 cool. Nice, nice. Who here wants to know how to make look at you. Look at you, Laurent. Look. I'm trolling. All right, relax. All right, so who in here wants to know how to make $1 million a month? You know, the crazy part, and I'm not gonna lie to you, there is a system. Like all at the end of the day, and I'm gonna share with it, there is a system. Like to get anything you want, it's all about systems, like inputs and then outputs. I do this, I work out for 6 months, I eat right. That's an input. Okay, I'm doing push-ups, by the way. 6 months patience, there's a system outputs, you get a little muscle, right? There is a system. The crazy part is most people don't even understand that society has given you a system since birth. Since birth. Now, what do I mean by that? The educational system. I'm not even going to go in depth in terms of the subconscious things that they do, in terms of raising a hand before asking a question, what that does to you on the subconscious level. It's so freaking crazy. But school, college, 9 to 5. Like that's a system. And they give that to you. Like that's the default system. Matrix, I guess if you want to say it. Now, everything comes down to systems. Like that is a system. 9 to 5, retire 66. Like that's what they tell you. That's like the biggest scam. That doesn't make it. I just retired. I'm 28. What the hell? Now, to make $500,000 a year, everybody in the program already knows the system, right? There's week 1 to week 8, right? That's the information. Like everything is step by step. That's a system. Once you get your first job, now Stormy got his job. He's about to go now run the other system to scale to 500,000. Everything comes down to systems. Now, how to make $1 million, how to make 500,000, how to make $130,000. Let's start there. And they're all the same. Number one, find someone who's done it. Now, I'm not making $1 million a month, so you need to find somebody else. Okay. Excuse me. And that's not my objective. My objective is to impact millions. Okay. So, anyways, how to make 500,000, right? That's what I said on IG. Find someone who's done it. It doesn't have to be me, but find someone. Okay. Research to see if he has a system, a blueprint, a step-by-step system that he is offering to people as a service or product. Okay. Number 3, do your research and see if at least 3 or more people have gone through the same exact system, same blueprint, and they've received success. Now, for me, even if one person has done it and got success, I'm gonna be the second person. He ain't better than me. It's the same system. There's no excuse. Oh, but what if he has like, experience on it? So what? Oh, but what if he has I don't care. I'm gonna be the second person, right? Because I have the values, I have the mindset of like, comes down to the. Anyways, so number 4, invest in yourself to gain access to the blueprint. Okay. Invest in yourself to gain access to the blueprint. That bit me in the ass one time because I was being cheap because I didn't have the mindset. I wanted to do it for free. I wasted 11 months. I ended up still having to go back and pay for the program for Cloud, my cousin. But my main point is I wasted $83,000 is down the drain because I didn't want to pay $5,000. But that's a whole different story. It's opportunity cost. I could have been making that could have been in my bank account because I could have been making that money 11 months earlier. 7,600 a month. If you do 7,600 times 11, it's like 83K. That's a different story. Number 4, like going back to what I said, invest in yourself to gain access to the blueprint. I did not want to do that. So learn from my mistakes. And I tell people, it doesn't have to be me. Invest in someone that has what you want. You have to do that. You don't have to, honestly, you don't. You can still do it for free. It's going to take you longer. It's going to be more stressful, right? But invest. This is my advice. Invest in yourself to gain access to the blueprint. Number 5, do everything the system tells you to do. Everybody that's in my program, you guys have a money back guarantee, like money. If you go through the system and you don't get the skill, right? Cloud engineer, like the whole blueprint, right? $500,000. If you do not have that skill that you gain from the system, you get your money back. And I tell everybody there's no way you're getting your money back, right? Because the stuff works, right? Hence me, the other students that use the system to get the results. But my main point, do everything the blueprint tells you to do. Number 6, be patient and wait. A lot of people are not patient. And then the main reason why people are not successful, like 95%, is just because they stop. And it's not your fault. We live in a world where it's instant gratification, social media, dopamine going crazy all the time. But just be aware and be patient and wait. Number 7, with time, you'll have the outcome of what the system blueprint is supposed to give you. Okay? Boom. I just typed in pretty much what I said. So, and please, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Please forgive me. And names is very important to me. But for my program, stuff like that, for the price, just DM me price on Instagram, and we'll hop on a call and I'll show you everything. Okay. Now, that's it. Like that's how to make like 500,000 a year. Find someone else that's done it and do exactly what he did. Okay. But how to make $1 million? Because I said I told you how many of you guys you want to make $1 million. How many of you guys want to learn how to make $1 million a year? Anybody? Type of 1%? Max, Isaac, okay, Daniel, Rowan. That's it? That's crazy. Okay, all right, okay. I see you guys coming in at 1%, 1%. Okay. I'm still geeking, bro. Isaac. I said, who's Nigerian? Story put a 1% in the chat. That's hilarious. Y'all are funny. All right, so So I remember time was a big struggle with Isaac. Now, when he got 2 jobs, he's damn near about to get 5 Bugattis, 3 houses, and 2 cars. Believe it, you are. So, nah, for real. So, I don't know. So, Isaac came to us. He had lost his job at Amazon, right? But nonetheless, just to speed it, because I don't want to go on a tangent. Now he's in a better position because he went through the system, followed it. He was patient. He and he's at a better place. Now, how to make $1 million? Here's the secret. I'm gonna type it in the chat. It's gonna sound crazy. Ain't that crazy? The thing is, we are predefined and programmed to have certain beliefs from society, from our parents. When I told my mom I invested 3K, she was like, "What the heck?" She wanted me to do my master's. And I told her like 2 weeks ago, I was like, "Mom, you still want me to get my master's degree?" And she was like laughing. Oh, you still want me to go back to school, get my master's degree? Because they just have a strong belief of like, go back to school is success, all this stuff. Because they got that belief from their parents. And they got that belief from their parents, right? So there is a pre-programmed belief that you have within your family that's probably passed down to you that doesn't serve you. That's still going to keep you entrapped and doesn't really give you freedom. There is a system, a blueprint that you are already using that you didn't even agree to. How many people are working at a job that they don't like? How many people would rather have another lifestyle they're making right now? Just be honest. I was. I y'all don't I was struggling. How many people have accepted a system and a belief or a blueprint that you didn't agree to, right? No one here says, I want to work until I'm 66. Now, if that's the case, I mean, maybe you just like working. I ain't gonna judge you. But that doesn't make for me, it didn't make any sense. Like as soon as I started working the 9 to 5, like literally the first week, like and driving to work, and this is just me. I said, this is the biggest scam. There is so many people. We're in traffic. And I'm like, people do this until there's what the like what? That was me kind of being aware of like this is kind of bullshit, right? It's the biggest scam for me. Is like a lot of we all drinking the Kool-Aid. But anyways, so that is a system. That is a system. The reality is everybody cannot be millionaires. If that was the case, we would all die. Who would be a farmer? Okay, like who will give us food? Who will give? There has to be people working. But what I'm saying is, at least I want to give you guys the awareness to choose the system and the blueprint that you want for the life that you want for yourself, for the life that you want for your kids, for the life that you want for your parents, for the life that you want for those around you that you hold near your heart. Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. Max, I see you. Natasha, Nico. Action steps. Go ahead and type of 1% in the chat. Okay. Type of 1% in the chat. Nice. Nice. Okay. So who in here thought this was like good, maybe even life-changing? Just go ahead and type a 1% in the chat if this was a good, like just useful overall. Anybody? Natasha? Okay. Rowan, 1%, okay. Tommy, Max, Robinson, Nico, Paris, Josier, Stormy, Justina, John, Tariq. Okay. Okay. Now, it's one thing to hear something, but knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. Now, I'm still going to do the challenge for 7 days, and I'll show you how it works. But I'm going to give you action steps. I gave you information, and now I'm going to give you a way to implement what you just learned. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. That's what's going to make change in your life. Now, I'm going to type it in the chat. Actually, let's see. Let me do this. So tonight, we walk through the entire path to make 500K and beyond. It's the same system. It's the same thing. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Not everybody on this call is going to actually implement it. That's just the reality. I pray and I hope and I would do everything possible to make sure you guys do. That's why I have this action step so you guys can do it. But the reality is, there's a lot of people that will hear this and don't do anything with it. And that's now. I just went somewhere like 2 months ago, and the guy Myron Golden said the same thing. All you guys, a lot of people will not implement what I just said, and I was a part of that person. Okay, so I want you to understand that's normal, but I want to challenge everybody on this call to take advantage and take control of your life with these action steps. Mindset is everything. Everything you have on the outside is a direct reflection of what you have on the inside. Yep. You can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. But I'm gonna drown that horse. Drink, motherfucker. I'm just kidding. All right. So recap. Okay. Tonight we talked about how to actually make $500,000 a year. You can make more. It's so simple. You know the crazy part is people will tell you in books, like, okay, why should white guys have all the wealth? How you can become a millionaire starting from the bottom. Interesting. This guy, he has like, he's so anyways, yeah, he's pretty wealthy, and he's literally telling you what to do step by step. Now, what am I doing? I'm reading this book, right? He talks about different levels of wealth, like different levels. $1 million is like level 0. But anyways, um, system, like what, $15? I'll drop the link to the chat. But anyways, I might be tripping though. I'm just trolling. So tonight we talked about how to make $500,000 or more. Okay, we talked about the identity, who you decide. It's a decision, who you decide to be. At the core of everything, you need to become the person to be able to make $500,000. Your values, we talked about values, your beliefs, your behaviors from those values, and then your outcomes. You have your belief system. From that belief, you're going to have certain behaviors, and from those behaviors, you're going to have outcomes. Okay? The chain reaction of wealth. We discovered your emotional why, your unstoppable fuel. That's how you're actually going to drive from destination A to destination B. It's your fuel. We talked about your commitment, the 4 elements, the 4 rules. That is the thing that's going to bridge your goals, your dreams, right? Is going to bridge your dreams to your reality. It bridges the gap. And then we talked about, most importantly, the system and blueprint. Follow someone who's done it, invest, and execute without excuses. Without excuses. This is not just theory. This is literally the formula that separates the 1% from the 99. Type of 1% in the chat if that makes sense. And then we're going to get to action steps and then we're going to hop off. Max, I see you. Natasha, LaRon, Everyday Classics. I don't know. Every time I see that, I just think of like Tropaholic mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, DeMarcus, Miko. Okay. I see everybody. I see y'all. Cool, cool, cool. So let me go ahead and put this in a document where you guys can access it. Okay. And I'll put in the chat, but I'll go over it too as well. And then we'll hop off. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Need some sleep. Okay. So action steps. And then I'll send you guys the 1% statements too as well. I am the type of person who multiplies money, right? Because that's the belief, that's the identity. Super important. I'll put that in here too. Cool. And then before we hop off, I'll leave the floor for questions for like 5-10 minutes and we'll hop off. So here is the link. Anybody want the link? Just curious, type of 1%. If you guys want the link. Yes, action steps. Max, only person. And he hungry. He said yes and 1% before anything. It's all like back to back. 1%. Okay. Okay. Yes, sir. That's it. That's it. There's like what, 50 people in here? 45? Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Boom. Right there. Let me know if that works. Anybody like click the link. Make sure you see it. And then come back. Just say yes, it works, or yes. Just want to make sure it's working for you guys. Cool. It worked. Man, Max funny, man. Somebody said, that's my $100. He said, I'm the type of person who gets that $100. All right, cool. So now it's really simple. Action steps. You're going to choose your identity statement. I'm the type of person who X, Y, and Z. Okay, and there's a bunch of 20 different identity statements below. The identity statements of a 1%er. So all my 1%ers in the community, you need to eat, breathe, shit, fart. Sorry for being graphic. The identity statements. Like this needs to be a part of your DNA. It is a part of who you are. Because naturally you're going to attract the things a 1%er would attract. Okay? So like that needs to bleed that into your like soul. Right? So choose your identity statements. Audit your values and behaviors. Look at your last 30 days of transactions. Do these reflect the values of someone who's on track to make 500K? Your money, but also your time. Like be very like if you actually track your time, you'll be like, dang, like I'm not the person that is going to get what I want. It's kind of crazy when you actually track it. Right? Now, discover your emotional why. This needs to be defined. You need to write this down. You need, and not just write it down. You need to feel it. It needs to be, Trey had asked me what keeps me going. It's a part of me. Okay. I literally almost cried on a Zoom call full of a lot of people in here. Right? Because that's my emotional why. It's a part of me. Okay. Apply the commitment formula. Invest upfront, set a timeline, build accountability, and remove opposition. And number 5, follow the blueprint. Follow someone who's done it. Invest in their system. It doesn't have to be mine, but somebody that has what you want. Do everything they tell you to do. It's not like everything. Do not try and like try your own stuff. Your own stuff doesn't work. That's why you went to this person to teach you. Okay? Be patient, and the results are inevitable. Okay? Does that make sense, you guys? Is that you guys crystal clear on that? Like clear action steps to get what you want, but it's really about mindset. Type of 1% in the chat if you guys are good. Type of 1% in the chat if you guys are good. So I want to thank you guys for your time. Like we started this at 6:30. It's 8:13. There's 44 people. At the point, it was like 70 people. There's 26 people that left. The 44 people that are here, it shows me how serious you are, and you're more likely to actually get the results of what I'm telling you. So shout out to you guys. Like seriously. And I'm going to give 5 to 10 minutes of people asking me questions. Take advantage. It could be any question. I'm going to have one question per person just because of time. Then when we get off, what I'm going to do is finish this book. It's like 8:14. I'm only on chapter 2. I'm on page 51. There's 353 pages, so I'm going to be up for a while. And I'm burnt, tired. Oh, let me drop the name of the book. I'll put the link, but it's called "Why Should White Guys Have All the Wealth?" Now it's the title, and it's anyways. When you read the book, you'll see it. But don't take it literal. Okay. So I'm going to type it in the chat. But I met this guy yesterday. This guy's he's there's a reason why I dropped everything to read this book. It's really good. Okay. Omotola, I got you. What about husband, second book? Oh, you talking about this book? The Millionaire Money Moves, Andrew? But yeah, I got both books. So this is like a supplement. But this is the first one you should read. But like this is yeah, it's a good book. I'll drop both. But I don't think this is online. But it's called The Millionaire Money Moves. And then Omotola, I got you. Let me actually look and find it. So Omotola, you can come off mute.
Yeah. This is not a question, but I promised I'd tell him. But what's it called? My brother reached out, so I told him that I'd let you know that he reached out, so you can reach back out to him. That was it.
I told him I'm gonna reach out to him. Just like when things kind of die down. There's like a list of people I gotta respond to. But today I'm isolating myself just for this book and actually this call.
All right, cool. I just want to make good on my promise on that. So, all right, thanks.
No problem. Um, or if it is. So does anybody, all right, cool. Laurent, you can come off. So anybody that has a question, just come off mute. We'll go from there.
All right, I'm gonna keep it short, man. So, I'm currently applying for jobs, and a lot of the interviews I had are for like senior position roles. And since I have experience as far as doing projects and things like that, but as far as actual work experience, I don't have any. So, should I stop applying for those type of jobs, or do we just take kind of whatever we can get?
So when you say you don't have work experience, like what do you mean by that? So have you gone through like week 7 and week 8? Because we build that experience on your resume that has 5+ years of experience.
Well, yeah. I mean, and again, as far as like the projects and the tech challenges, like I have experience as far as that is concerned. So I don't know. I guess because it's a senior position, I get a little, I don't know what word to use. I don't want to say concerned or worried, but just the fact that like me personally, like I know I'm coming into this without.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
I have a similar concern. Like I'm also applying for those kind of jobs too, and they always want to know like what my ownership is of certain projects and certain services or apps that are released. And sometimes I'll try to finesse it with Verve or projects that are really relevant to the type of job I'm going for or the types of jobs that I've had. But do you have any just guidance regarding that? Maybe does that help kind of?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it does.
So just so I understand, for these certain position, when they require things like outside of the scope of what you know.
Correct. And I don't know if Parker can agree with that or not, but yes.
Yeah, so it would be something like project, like tell me about a project you've managed yourself.
So those are super, super like slam dunk. Um, Going through the program, I talk about a type 2 interview, which is if anybody was to ask me a question, tell me about your last project or what ownership that you had, right? We teach cloud migration, right? We teach how to, deploy, how to build infrastructure and deploy that in different environments, right? Like there's those projects that you're actually doing in the program are projects that I've done at my actual jobs. And those projects are things that I'm leading, right? And so when I talk about it in the program, um, doing these projects and to be able to articulate it, like the 100 reps, you actually have to have 100 repetitions of like articulating it in a way that showcases value. Literally, it's at the core, and I want you to understand it. It's not like you don't have the skill. If it's like, tell me a time that you've led a project, it's about the mindset and belief because you've actually done that, right? Now, ideally, realistically, you haven't done it on the job, like just to be real. But essentially, and this is why I've designed the program this way. I'm a CEO myself, and I've talked to different CEOs. All they care about is can you do the job? And so if I have a job description and I need a cloud engineer to do a cloud migration project, I just, I have a website now, and let's say I need to migrate it over to AWS. All I care about is, can you actually migrate it to AWS?
So like what DeMarcus just mentioned, like I led the migrations, having that like I lead first language
Yep.
instead of passive language. Very, very I forget what the terminology is, but you know what I mean. That's
I got
kind of
you.
like more to say.
So I've said this on like Sunday coaching calls before, but and I'll say it again, and I'll be short because I want everybody to ask questions. If you have a question, raise your hand so like I know, or just say I have a question so I know like how many people is in line. But essentially, all you're doing, for example, this is the framework. Hey, Tile, tell me a time that you've, um, you know, tell me time. I see on your resume you have cloud migration. Yeah, tell me a little bit about that. Yeah, sure. So you want to tell a story. At my last company at One Globe, they actually had a contract for a cloud migration project for Homeland Security, right? It was my role, right? So I said what the situation was. They had a contract for cloud migration. That's the situation. And then you want to take ownership. It was my role. They don't want to care about what the team did. They want to know what you did. It was my role and responsibility to design a highly available, cost-effective security architecture, right? And also, it was my role to actually build out this infrastructure using Terraform. So you see what I'm saying? It was my role, right? Taking ownership, right? I build out, and you can, if you want, you can go in details, but you do short story first, right? But yes, I went ahead and build out the configuration file, the EC2, the VPC, the application load balancer to distribute traffic, right? X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. And being able, so this is the 100 reps, right? The short story and the long story. And so now, when you're saying that, if you were to tell me that most of interviews is to see if you're bullshitting on your resume, but if you were to tell me that you're telling me a story of something that you've done, that you have in the program, that lets me know that you can solve my problem that I have and that you're not lying. Like that gives me the confidence that you can actually get the job done because that's essentially what you do. You build out the Terraform infra, you do all the stuff from A to Z. Does that make sense? You take ownership, yes. And so don't let the senior level confuse you or get you intimidated. Like I my last, not the last, but one of the jobs I used to have, it was a senior position. I do so much less work, and it's just this specific job. Now I'm not saying every job is going to be like this, but it's so sweet. All I did was to like clean AWS disk space on there. I would log into the AWS EC2. I would click like clear the temporary stuff, like click a button, and that's all I did that's all I had to do for like months. And that's a senior position. So don't let the title intimidate you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does for me.
And so really just building that confidence, like you need to have the mindset and confidence, like I've built AWS. This is something that I built. Obviously, that's not the case, but that was something that my mentor had told me in terms of having that confidence, right?
I want to interject real quick, adding on top of that, like not only getting that ownership, but when you guys are going through some of these tech challenges, you guys are also going to be encountering issues, right? When it comes to the issues, I feel like that's going to be also valuable for you to talk about because they want to, like, you want to tell the people you're interviewing with, like, this is what happened in the project, but we ran into this issue, and my contribution was to do this, this, and this, which resolved this issue as well, right? So to give you guys an example, those of you that did the last boot camp with me, we did an ECS deployment. And like, for example, we had an issue where when we tested our application locally, everything was fine. But when we deployed it onto AWS, we weren't able to connect the back end and front end. I'm not going to give it all away, but those of you that were in the previous boot camp, you guys saw how I went ahead and I fixed that. And I'm able to explain that on interviews. You're giving them valuable information as to what you actually did on this project. So that's just like my little 2 cents there.
When I did actually explain some of my downfalls, like problems that I had on an interview, I remember one person had said, yeah, like we're actually facing that right now. Because I said, yeah, this was something I faced, but this is what I did. So I avoided this and I did this is the solution that I did. Like, oh, like they're I'm giving them value right there on the call. Tell a story that demonstrates your relevant skills. Yep, 1000%. Cool. Does anybody else have any questions? Yeah. I'm gonna give it about 5 seconds. 5.
Yeah, Teo.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a question for you. I think I already asked the foreman this question um in the 1% University. And I think it'll most likely be answered, but I guess I'll ask it here. You just told a story about you at your previous job as a senior role. You basically logged onto the console and you were able to, spin up an EC2 or whatever. Um, at your or for anyone else that has gotten a job so far, are they literally doing everything through Terraform? And if so, in terms of infrastructure, and if so, is it um, is it wise to have like pre-configured templates to where you can spin up an EC2 or spin up a node cluster like in like 5 minutes just by activating the template and running a script? Or is it just like, hey, let me go to ChatGPT, tell it to, hey, I need this, this, and this. They'll give me the files, and then boom, we can create it.
So I'll share this. So when you join a company, they're going to tell you about their infrastructure. Like we have, a production environment, and we have this installed. We have this, EC2. We have this application installed on that EC2. That's what's running in production. We have this many users using this application, whatever. And then we have, our GitHub repository where we have the Terraform, like Jenkins file. Like they're going to tell you what they have. Like this is development, testing, production, or whatever they have. So they're going to like that Terraform configuration file. Like don't come to the company like, oh, I have this installed or pre-configured. You don't. That's the bad way to think and go about it, because they're going to train you on what they do have. Now, if they don't have it, right? For example, I had to build certain things using Terraform, and then most companies they have a automation approach. That's like instead of doing everything manually, they would rather just build it through Terraform so they can just click it, build it and destroy it if they need to. Like let's just say I leave the company and I can't do it manually anymore. Someone else can just type Terraform apply and build out that infrastructure. And so to answer your question, they don't you shouldn't have the mindset where I'm going to come to this company and have these Terraform configuration files like just ready. See what they have and they're going to guide you on what they need. And they should be using like IAC principles. Some people they don't really enforce it that much, but for the most part, and if they don't, that's just like they're like way behind from an organization perspective, how they think is like behind. They should be using IAC principles. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Because I don't mean I'm trying to take up your time, but I've been kind of struggling with this. I've done all the projects and everything, but I've recently come to an issue where there was a guy who posted something in one of the chats that basically said, "Hey, you need to ask ChatGPT to brutally be honest with you and where you are." And what ChatGPT basically told me is that, "Hey, man, you're doing a hell of a job, but you're concentrating too much on the little manual errors and things like that. You need to like be like think like a cloud architect and like automate your systems. You need to have pre-configured scripts for stuff." So I was like, oh, okay. So I'll just go ahead and pre-configure some scripts and try to automate this stuff as much as I can. So long story short, that's what it came from. Like, hey, am I gonna go on a job? Am I gonna have these pre-configured scripts so that I can spin it up in like 5 minutes, or are they just gonna tell me everything? And yeah, you pretty much answered my question.
So that's just for yourself, for your own knowledge and for your own experience and understanding all these different components, Terraform configuration file, your Jenkins file, your Docker file, and how they work together, right? And so now, because you're going to go on a job and you're going to see their own Jenkins file, their own Docker file, their own Terraform configuration file, right? And then seeing the bigger picture as a architect, right? You're seeing how it's designed as an architect, And then now the implementation is the cloud engineer that's actually building these things out.
Cool. Thanks.
My pleasure, TJ. And so we're gonna give it 8:40. 8:40 is the drop off. So we got 11 minutes. So go ahead, TJ.
Hey, can you hear me?
Sir, talk to me.
So I just wanted to just say for the first and foremost, I appreciate you, Tayo. You're one of the smartest people that I've ever come across. For those of you on the call, we met last year at InvestFest, and everything that he said he was going to do, he actually did. I work in a different silo in tech. I work specifically in cybersecurity. I consider myself like an authority in this space. And I also have a program helping, new people or what I call career transitionists. And I just wanted to kind of drop just some game that I think will help people in this call as well. And I'm absorbing a lot and learning a lot on this call. And for the people who are, looking to fill gaps on their resume or looking to, they need help with identifying with the role, I just want to give you this thing to take. It's extremely important for you to transition keyword into an authority in your space, in your own brand identity as fast as possible. Everyone's starting out, whether it's in finance or like whatever you're looking to do, you're in cyber, you're in cloud, you're looking to transition. It's extremely important to identify with the role and become an authority. So you start out it's like the ABC model. I kind of made this up. It's like you start out a beginner or a student, and then it's your goal and objective to transition, keyword, transition as soon as possible to become a contributor. And once you become a contributor and you maintain that status long enough, you then keyword transform into an authority. Okay. And so as you're going through Tayo's program, as you're, going through the motions, keep that in the back of your mind. It's your goal to become your own identity and brand. Like you said identity before, and that's like the thing that's kind of stuck with me. And so I just want to kind of share that. It's like, if you don't have a YouTube channel, create a YouTube channel. Every project that you're working on, right? Echo that throughout your own ecosystem and community, whether it's your auntie or your sister, right? Your friend, the person, your neighbor, right? These people need that information, right? And just focus on trying to strengthen the education and the hygiene of your ecosystem so you could be viewed as an authority in your space. Because when you're speaking to these recruiters and hiring managers, you're leveraging what you're learning in the program, and you need to concatenate that with what you're doing outside of the program and how the world views you. And that's really going to have a significant impact on, your online brand. Because branding is like half of the battle when it comes to landing a job. That you could have the skills, but a lot of people don't market themselves correctly. So therefore they're not able to, get the exposure that they're looking for. I just wanted to share that real quick. I hope it helps someone. And Tayo, thank you so much for conducting this session during InvestFest. I've seen you all weekend. You gave up listening to Magic Johnson to be here, and you've dropped a lot of game that I'm going to implement in my own life and program. So I just wanted to say kudos to you, brother. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. It's crazy. I want everybody okay. I invested into Recruiter 35 plus years of experience. Talked about 5 different ways of getting an offer letter. And people just know about applying to jobs, which is a 2 to 3 converting rate. The highest converting rate, I forgot the percentage, but it's what TJ just said. To be able to create a brand, like for example, posting on LinkedIn. Stormy, you here? Yeah, Stormy, you're still here, right? Stormy?
Yo.
I remember you had posted something on LinkedIn, like about some work that you've done, or have you ever done that? Was that you?
Yeah, I've done that pretty much from the tech challenges.
And you had recruiters reaching out to you, right?
Yeah.
So what I want to say is when you create a brand and it has the highest converting rate, becoming an authority, what TJ just said literally is the high, and I never even talked to TJ about this, but from what I've learned, I just haven't taught it in the community and make a video about it yet, but that is literally the highest way to actually convert to an offer. Like there's been people that create jobs because they want this person because he is an authority in the space. Let's just say LinkedIn, creating articles. Greg does that a lot too as well. but they see the value that this person has, and they clearly see it based on what they're communicating on videos, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, because they have a brand. But creating a brand on your niche, on cloud engineering or cybersecurity, you will never actually lack a job. Even though the stuff that we have, it still produces results, right? But to be able to create a brand is the highest converting rate. And that's coming from a recruiter that has 35 plus years of experience. I paid a mentorship for him, right? That's what he told me. So I want to just say thank you, TJ, for that, because that's tap in. So TJ, drop your Instagram too as well for people to connect with you. But TJ he's he's one of the he's the person in the cyberspace that his level is up there. Like, I don't know anybody else that's killing the game like TJ. He's being humble. But he
Nah, and I didn't do this for no promo. I'm a fly on the wall, and I'm a student of Tayo right now. I'm just saying this because it's facts. And if you're putting in the work, but the world doesn't know you exist, then what good is it? And the work that you're doing in Tayo's program is apples to apples experience for a cloud engineer. So you need to let the world needs to know that. For all the people who are just getting in the program, who are kind of like midway, you need to be transitioning into and being viewed as an authority in your space. You already can speak the language because you're doing the projects. Okay, so echo that message on your social medias, specifically LinkedIn, so that you can then turn your LinkedIn into a funnel, into a sales page, right? Which you're solving a problem that these companies have, which is why they're partnering with recruiters to go out there and fish for people like you who possess those skills. So that's a key part to this whole thing. And I tell that to my students in my program, like, listen, you guys are doing great work, but no one knows you're doing the work because you're not posting about it, right? Your resume, your LinkedIn, which is a digital copy, has to speak to that. And then I went to go apply. This is what really made it all link up. And I'm going to pause here. I mean, stop talking here. But I applied for a speaking engagement at Thanksgiving. And I'm like, they're asking me, well, post a link of a recent chat that you've done, a talk that you've done, what's this, your YouTube channel. And I was like, I'm not monetizing what I have to offer appropriately. And I've been on the Forbes Business Council, all this great stuff. And I'm like, okay, I have something I need to be able to echo to my students. Like, yo, listen, ABC model, student, contributor, authority, right? As soon as possible, as fast as possible, and make sure that you implement these three things in this market more than ever, because in a world full of AI and commercialism, it's kind of hard. These are hard attributes to possess, and they are, creativity, right? Authenticity and vulnerability. All right. The next person that is, on social media that you aren't following you yet, or your neighbor, the garbage person, whoever, they need to hear from you, right? And in order for them to do that, they need to hear from you so that you know that you exist, so you can help them. So become an authority as soon as possible, and make sure you put your content out there. That's all I wanted to say. I didn't do this for any type of exposure. Tayo knows me. It's going to help the people that are in his program because, right, you're transitioning. And so you need to take all that information you're absorbing, and then you need to repurpose it, right, and concatenate that with your strategy so that people know you exist and that you can do the job. And the confidence is key for everything. So just make sure that you take what he's saying and put it into action.
But it's I'm not gonna lie, I'm learning from TJ right now. He said he's a student. I'm a student. But no, seriously, what he said is if you apply what he said, it's very, very, very valuable. Like, very valuable. And building that brand is a more long-term game, and it could be short-term too as well. But if you plant that seed in terms of planning different articles, planning different posts, it's more work up front, but it pays off. Like, if I don't even actively post on LinkedIn or different stuff, but if I really wanted to get a job, it's so no, yes. It's just so valuable when you're able to create an environment where you are seen as an authority and people are literally begging you to work for their company. Like, there's people like that out there. So I want to digress and land the plane. But definitely, TJ, still drop your Instagram, because the reason why I'm saying this is there's, even though TJ is in cybersecurity, I still look at his content, I still look at his story, right? Because being around someone like TJ, hearing what he has to say, it's super important, in terms of the identity, in terms of what you see, what you feed yourself. I am the type of person to your identity statements, right? And so being around people that has similar goals or a certain vision that's similar to you is important. So TJ, definitely, if you don't mind, go ahead. Yep. So he just typed it in the chat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go on Instagram and get his page so you guys can get the link and definitely give him a follow just to even like you want to connect and hear like be around people like that, hear, have conversations, see what they're saying. It's super, super important. So I just typed it in chat. Everybody on here, if I was you, I would follow him. And even if you want to tap in, so people that's not in, my program already, even if you want to see what he's about, and this is not planned, right? But he is really good. He has one of the best cybersecurity program I've ever seen. He spent a lot of money building his product in terms of like what his students use to get a real world simulation. And cybersecurity, he's like that. But anyways, does anybody, and he dropped this LinkedIn too as well. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? It's 8:40. I'm going to take one or two more questions and land the plane. Okay, I'm gonna give it about 5 seconds.
I had a question for both of y'all actually.
Yes, sir. Talk to me. What's going on, boss? Can you hear me, Malik?
I say demos or like the tech challenges and everything that's showing the work we're doing and everything, since we don't.
Sorry, Malik, it kind of the connection broke up a little bit on my end. You might starting over with a question.
It's probably my connection. I'm driving right now. No, so for example, like just starting off and everything with the program, when you say post on the LinkedIn, is that more for once you get hired, or is it more of like the tech challenges? We post that type of stuff and everything just to show that we're walking and talking it and the progress and everything like that, and talk more about it.
Yeah, so when you're doing the projects and you're actually getting the experience of like a skill set like cloud engineer. Now, you want to be able to post that, right, when you're, and everybody that's listening and that's in the program still do this as well. Post that online on LinkedIn or different platforms, right? Because you're showing people what you can do. And also, if a recruiter is looking for someone that knows how to do cloud migration, and then you create an article, step-by-step screenshots, right, on how to do that on like Medium or something like that, it lets them know this person has what we're looking for, right? And so, yes, you want to do that as you do the cloud migration project or as you do a project like these projects that you're doing. Essentially, there's problems businesses have, and those projects are solving those problems. And so, does that make sense? You want to do it as you're doing the projects and tech challenges. You want to be marketing them.
Okay, that makes sense. And okay, and sometimes the employer probably could have went past your profile and actually seen your work in action. So that's actually a plus too as well.
Sure.
And my last question was for you. Question was, how was the Invest Fest, and what's something that stuck with you?
How to be wealthy, how to be rich for real. And that's what this book is about, right? When he showed the different numbers, because most honestly speaking, like InvestFest, like this is my third time. I wasn't supposed to come. I went because, one of my sisters wanted to go, and I was just really trying to support her. But I'm glad I came. But my main point is this thing that I fell into, he just talked about like the mindset, the identity, the perspective, what it means to be rich for real, the numbers, the net worth, the like literally what you have, your net worth, your liquid, how many, like it's just different criteria. It's like four main pillars of like where you are at on the wealth spectrum. And like I saw myself on one end and I'm like, dang, I didn't really think I made it, like because I just retired my 9 to 5 and stuff like that. But it's just like, dang, there is different levels, and he has a blueprint on how to get to each level. So that was the biggest thing that I took from it. Everything else I've heard it before. Most of the things, like 95% of the stuff I've heard before. And it was pretty good. And so Did I answer your question? I want to make sure I get Derek and DSG, and then we'll hop
Yep,
off.
yep, you answered the question. I'm gonna purchase that book and everything and check it out. Appreciate it.
Sir, highly recommend. So projects, and I got you, Derek. Cloud migration. So do this. Put this in ChatGPT. As a cloud engineer, and I'm gonna type it. What are the projects I can do right now that the market is in demand and actively searching for cloud engineers to have? So if you're interested in the price of the 1% University, DM me the word price. So that's a whole separate call. And we'll show you like just in terms of what the program, what it has to offer, the price, and then different funding options. Pretty much if most people can actually afford it if they actually want to do it. But just DM me the word price and we'll get you started. And so go ahead and copy and paste that prompt into ChatGPT, and it'll tell you, the current projects that's active in the market. Even if you type in AWS Cloud Engineer, remote jobs, cloud migration, you'll see a bunch of jobs like listed. And then Derek, this is the last question. I am tired. It's been 2.5 hours, not 2 hours and 15 minutes. But talk to me.
All right. So as far as the action steps you submitted earlier, those seem to be for somebody who's not in the program yet. Can we do those, or is it like just really just for the people that are not in the 1% University?
No, that's for everybody. And so even for within a week, and I forgot to say this, everybody on Instagram, I want you to reach out to me in terms of the results of those action steps, like how they impact, like if you look at it, like your identity statement, your why, like actually show me those stuff for the $100. And then everybody within this program, like from 7 days from now, so next Sunday, just submit like your action steps. Like, here's my emotional why. I've audited my, transactions. I've seen this amount of money going here, and just literally do it, and then show me that you've done it. And then I'm going to choose the winner next Sunday. So just send that into the action step submissions. You can do it. Yes. So I would say that it's for
Awesome.
it's for both. Mhm. So Paris, don't do ETL pipeline because that's data engineer. But I utilize that to showcase that one of the characteristics that they look for in a candidate, which is eagerness to learn. And so I mean, you could do that. You could do that. I'm just saying you don't have to because I don't, yeah, that's this. I like cloud engineer, data engineer. That was annoying to do. But if you want to, you can. But you can utilize that as, hey, even though this is not cloud engineer, there was an opportunity for me to learn, right? This is what they're looking for. So I did an ETL pipeline. I did an ETL pipeline project, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. So I'm just leveraging some of the characteristics that they look for in a candidate. So that's pretty much it. I've been talking for a while. So Kirk, reach out to Felipe. He'll let you know about the week 1 classes. He's taking ownership of that. But that's pretty much it. So I'm going to end the call in 10 seconds. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. I'm burnt out, about to relax for like 15 minutes and finish this book. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but it's going to get done. So you guys have an amazing night, and I appreciate everybody, your time, your energy. I hope this was useful in some type of way. You guys enjoy the rest of your night.